Yowarida. Biden blade!
No!
Pax, I just lost the contractor oath connection to Calzin.
Ain't no way. Did he?
He fucking lost! How? He had every advantage in the world, yet he loses to a pair of fatherless, mouth-breathing rogues? I would have torn his miserable spine out myself if I knew his ineptitude ran this deep. Sorry. That was uncharacteristic of me.
No need to apologize, my lord. Calzin was a weak link. He would have surely died from something foolish later on anyways.
I suppose. But his absence now slows down progress on the original task he was given.
Right. He was stationed at that new island. Erisia, was it?
Indeed. Tasked with claiming the Forge of Sin, which had resurfaced with the Isle.
The Forge of Sin? Haven't heard anyone talk about that thing in ages. That'll definitely speed things up.
If all goes well, that is.
So, with that little kid toucher gone, who's going to be the replacement?
You, Pax.
Huh? My lord, I do not mean to criticize or ever defy you, but my task in the West is not yet complete.
Hand the task over to your second in command.
You sure there ain't any other folks capable of this mission?
Listen, Pax. I've received word that an Inquisitor from the Central Authority captured and extracted the mind of a city guard.
Oh, well, I'll be damned. Shit.
The Central Authority and that dogged sovereign have finally seen through the cracks of the Etrian kingdom. It's only a matter of time before they storm the beaches and undo all the years of work we've put into that rancid place in a single afternoon. I will inform your forces of the change in plans. You alone are the only contractor I can trust to finish this task.
Very well, then. Consider it done, my lord.
Thank you, O loyal knight. I must away to the throne room, lest the Sultorian horror bores of me.
Hello, fellow viewers and players, and welcome back to the AI President's Havoc of Erisia campaign. Last session, we had the gang return to Erisia with the Summer Company, and Jackdaw making his grand return to the overworld.
What can I say? It was peak. Feels great to be back to the series' roots.
Only took us, what, 2 years?
Dear God, don't remind me.
Literal one-piece type of pacing. Completely ridiculous.
About as ridiculous as those files, Donnie boy.
What files? The economy's doing great. Don't you worry about a thing?
How the hell do you keep getting away with this?
Can't we all just bond over the fact that the US is back to bombing the Middle East like the good old days?
I'm going to intervene here, or else my quaint little office will be torn to shreds. How about we get a recap before all hell breaks loose?
I'll gladly start, and I'll try to make it quick. However, the first part belonged to Jackdaw, so there's not a lot I can recap on there. Any input, Joe?
I woke up at the Isle of Vigils, was socially awkward for half an hour, and then got a pep talk from my mentor.
Riveting. Donald and I were on Lady Remington, the Summer Company heavy cruiser ship transporting us to Erisia. Some small lore drops occurred about the operation, which seems to have been hastily planned. Also, Lionel got to power trip on some Summer Isle grunts, so that's fun, I guess.
Incredibly so. Some people just need to be yelled at, you know?
I suppose. Next part's back to Jackdaw. Any comments?
I did a little shopping and got myself a brand spanking new outfit. Same color as the last one, of course. I also got knocked into the ocean by the mean shipwright. Apparently my sailboat got wrecked while I was in the depths, but how was I supposed to help that?
Oh, wow, that's, crazy. Back to us then. After landing on the shores, we began to trek into the Erisian wilds, taking one of our old routes. Inside of the bandit building from the first session, we instead found a unit of Summer Isle grunts, led by an interesting bat-eared fellow by the name of Petro Barbaras. From what I can tell, he and Lionel are equally high on the Summer Company's corporate ladder, both entrusted with personal missions.
Rosen likes me more, of course. Just stating the obvious.
Nevertheless, he seems pretty interesting. After that, we carried on, but Donald's character and mine had a pretty heated argument, thankfully stopped by Penny.
Did you know some commenters thought I was saying dear boy as in D-E-A-R instead of D-E-E-R? I thought that was kind of funny.
Huh, strange. I never thought of it like that, but then again, they're both pronounced the same. Well, back on track, we decided to visit the bandit settlement previously led by Gervasius, George Bush's character.
Shout out to a real one. Fly high, King.
Inside, Penny discovered a strange stone-like creature which seems to have been piloted by a greater force, possibly the Duke of Erisia himself. After a brief and hostile conversation, several more popped up and started a surprisingly tough encounter. We managed to fend them off, but they brought us pretty low. Lionel tried to interrogate the leader of the bunch, which didn't work despite the high roll, and then it blew up right in front of him. Instead of trudging forwards, we decided to take a short rest instead, and that's where the session ended for us. As for Joe, though...
Well, I managed to swim to the shores, exhausted but alive. I tried to continue on ahead, but I was stopped by some unruly individuals that didn't treat my visit very kindly.
Unruly individuals like whom?
I plead the fifth.
Damn it! Now I really want to know!
Now that the recap is out of the way, I think it's time we do some level ups for Lionel and Basil, and go over some other changes done with the Havoc system. Starting with the changes, we will go over stat distribution, which is currently uneven between players. At level 1, players start with 70 stat points, but as you can see, some of y'all have either less or more than that. Also, the highest a stat can be upon character creation is 17, not affected by racial bonuses, of course.
Wait, I've had 6 points less than everyone else?
It appears I've had a couple over the limit.
Same with me. Huh, how strange.
I'll let y'all fix your stats before we go over the level ups. So, how's it looking for everyone?
Never felt better.
Well, it kind of sucks not having 18 intelligence anymore, but I suppose having equal stat points makes it more fair for everyone.
Same here, man. The 18 wisdom was nice, but it's time to say goodbye.
Not quite. The 4th level up does not just grant a mantra and a talent, it also awards the player 3 stat investment points, which you can allocate as you please, along with 5 resistance points. Among other things, level 4 allows you to access 1-star mantras of your chosen attunements, and grants an HP milestone which gives you a guaranteed max HP roll on your hit dice.
Good grief, you're really not skimping out with these rewards.
Absolutely tremendous. I get to buff myself even more.
I'm already level 4, but I get to increase my stats too, right?
Of course, let's do a little time skip, and we can quickly go over the level ups before the session begins.
All right, this is awesome.
Agreed. With these improvements, I'll be a lot more viable in combat.
God, I can't wait to try this stuff out.
Sounds like you've been having some fun.
You bet. How about I start with mine?
Go right ahead.
Beautiful. I first increased my dexterity by 2 points and my constitution by 1, giving me an 18 and 12 respectively. Just big, beautiful numbers. I also upped my wind and lightning resistance a little. Nothing too crazy. My new mantra is a 1-star flame charm mantra called Fire Palm, which is pretty similar to Burning Hands from regular D&D, dealing fire damage in a cone shape. For my talent, I got Charmcaster, which applies charm stacks onto enemies when I hit them with mantras, which lowers their damage towards me. And finally, with the HP milestone, my HP has been increased to 37. I think that's all for me. Pass it on to Ben.
Interesting. As for me, I upped my strength by 2 and intelligence by 1, rounding me up to a 16 and an 18. I increased the resistance of my burn by 4 and my bleed by 1. Since fire seems to be a relatively common damage type, I picked up Fleeting Sparks as my newest 1-star lightning mantra, which has a short range and below average damage but always guarantees a hit. Since my stats got changed, I lost access to battle tendency, but I instead got to choose a replacement, which became Circle Cleave instead, which when activated enhances my main hand attack by adding a 5-foot radial AoE. My new talent is called Apothecarian Focus, which lowers the requirements for a potion batch scaling with my intelligence modifier, which will definitely be useful when cooking stronger potions. To conclude this level up, my HP was increased to 33. I'll pass it over to Joe.
Alrighty guys, not too much has changed, but I added some extra dexterity, bringing me up to 16 and restored my wisdom back to 18. Oh, and I increased my resistances too. Of course, increasing my, whatchamacallit. Oh right, never mind, I just put everything into bleed. I've already gotten my talents and mantra from session 10, so I'm ready to start playing.
Well then what the hell are we waiting for? Let's kick it off already.
One last thing before we start.
Oh, come on.
Due to popular demand as seen in this poll, I've decided to fix Penelope's character sheet, giving her a class path and leveling her up to level 4. Viewers on screen can see her character sheet here, and the cards I've picked out for her.
Oh, nice.
Never mind. That is actually pretty sick. She's a mainstay party member, so I reckon she's needed this for a long, long time.
She looks pretty dangerous with those stats.
Indeed. Now with all of that out of the way, Are we ready to begin the session?
Yep.
Indeed.
Let's get to rolling already.
After a harsh battle, you slump down and rest amongst the ruins of the abandoned settlement. The downpour seems to subside, for a while at least, as a pungent smell of smoke competes with the stench of gore in the air. From the short rest, the party restores 50% of their max HP, rounded downwards, and all mantra slots are regained.
Good grief, that could have gone better.
True. Maybe you shouldn't let yourself get hit all the time.
Easier said than done.
Now, are you going to get up and help me loot this place? Otherwise, I'll be taking all this for myself.
You can try, but you won't fit all of it in your pockets.
We'll see about that.
Lionel, you suddenly feel a heavenly presence inside of your skull, and a sensation of cold barbs seem to gather at your neck. The presence compels you to isolate yourself, as it wishes to converse in private. No one else can tell what is happening, as only your pupils suddenly shrink as your movement freezes.
Boomstick?
It appears nature calls. I'll be right back. And I run off, heading back to the entrance and turning left.
What did he mean by nature calls? I didn't hear nature calling anyone, and I've got the biggest ears out of everyone here.
It's a euphemism, Penny. He needed to, well, unload some weight, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
He means he needs to take a shit.
Ooh. Couldn't he just have said that?
I guess, but sometimes formalities are needed when hiding something less than appealing.
Hey, don't you think Boomstick's acting a bit strange?
He's probably still riding the high off of his promotion.
I mean, maybe? I don't know how promotions and all that works, but does he need to be so mean to us?
He really doesn't. I'm hoping his hubris fades over time or something wounds his ego hard enough to knock him back to our level.
I hope. I miss the old Lionel.
After leaving your party and turning the corner, the sensation of barbs fade, with an armored angel quickly descending from the sky. Spear in hand, Scleritel tilts her head upwards in acknowledgement.
We meet again, kindred Scarson.
What'd you drag me out here for?
All will be explained in due time. However, I sense a heightened heart rate from thee. Do tell, hast thou been engaging in battle?
I have. Some worthless rock fiends got the jump on my party, but I disposed of them quickly. I didn't bother revealing my power towards such lowlifes. And besides, I'm not sure how my party would react to my oath.
Dost thou wish to squander thine potential this soon?
Huh? No, of course not. What makes you say that?
Then thou shalt learn that thine party members' opinions are not to be valued. By all material and spiritual means, thou art a higher life form compared to thine feeble companions. Pray tell, should the demigod be hindered by the opinion of the feeble worm?
You know, you've got a point.
Then I am pleased. Mine words have reached thee.
She performs a half bow, showing a dignified yet distant appreciation, still keeping a firm grip on her spear. Scleritel's peerless white shawl appears to be unaffected by the weather, as raindrops simply disintegrate upon close proximity to her armor.
Alas, I did not arrive here merely to butter thee up. I come bearing information of a sinner on this very island. Our information is heavily limited, as the oath was only half sworn, thus we lack any kind of physical descriptor.
So we know there's a person,
Sinner.
a sinner, on this island, but we ain't got any clue as to who it could be.
Correct. However, a physical description is archaic, when we can simply sense the presence of ichor flowing through a creature's veins. If thou art to succeed in slaying this sinner, the power of thine oath would be furthered.
Sounds swell. If I find them, you can rest easy knowing there'll be one less sinner in the world.
An unsettling cackle emanates from the kindred angel, with her metallic body unmoving.
Exquisite. Happy hunting, kindred. Spread thine wings and brandish thine halo. Let the lesser creatures, humanoids, and dwellers of the deep gaze skyward upon thee in awe and terror.
And just like that, the cardinal is cloaked in a brilliant light, before vanishing into thin air, leaving no trace behind, not even a pair of footprints on the wet grass beneath.
Heh. Looks like things are getting interesting.
Don't say I didn't warn you. Oh, look at that. I got a 22 on my initiative.
The summer grunts rolled a 19, a 15, and a dirty 20, respectively. How would you like to start your turn?
Well, I don't want to hurt them too bad. They're just misguided, that's all. Is there a way to do this without killing anyone?
Yes, you can toggle non-lethal, which will at most knock them unconscious for an extended period of time,
All right, awesome. I'll do that, and then start off by running to the one in the middle and hit him with a main hand attack. Oh wow, that's a dirty 20 to hit, dealing 8 slashing and 4 bleed damage. And after that, I'll cast Master's Flourish and hit him again. 17 to hit. Does that land?
Yes, continue.
12 slashing damage and knocking him back 5 feet. And to end my turn, I'll activate Adrenaline Surge and perform one last main hand attack. Holy cow, that's a natural 20.
Wait, really?
Yeah, man, look for yourself.
Good lord, that grunt was already holding on by a string. All right, let's see the damage.
That looks like 14 slashing and 12 bleed damage. Yikes, now that you mention it, this might be a little overkill.
Indeed. As you jet towards the summer grunt, with immense speed, you glimpse panic in the man's face, before he's relentlessly cut down by your assault. His torso shoots out streams of cruor from the numerous wounds, painting the nearby terrain red. He falls to the ground with his face draining of color, dropping his flintlock as he does. The air turns eerily silent. The other grunts freeze, still trying to process the events that just transpired. It is only upon hearing the soft thud of his body dropping to the wet grass below that they truly understand the gravity of the situation. Audible whimpering is heard from the grunt to your left, and the one to the right is already abandoning the cause, opting to run for his life, with his ally following just behind, stumbling as they do.
Run! We're not getting paid nearly enough for this!
Wait, don't leave me here!
Fuck no! You're on your own, Frederick!
You're now left alone with the slumped man, apparently named Frederick, who lets out a pained chuckle and coughs up a small amount of blood. He's alive, but who knows for how long.
Pretty harsh of your friends to just leave you like that.
A grim smile forms on the grunt's face, and he wipes his mouth with his sleeve.
They've known me for like half a week. Honestly, I'd do the same if it happened to any one of those blokes. So, now what? You knocked me down. Are you gonna finish the job?
I won't respond, and I'll try to patch him up instead. I don't have any healing potions, but I could probably use some of his fancy clothes as bandages.
Roll me a medicine check. You will probably need several throws if you wish to save him.
I hope my wisdom's good enough for this. 14 on the first roll.
You remove Frederick's trench coat and wrap it tightly around his torso, clogging some of the wounds. Although it is not without consequence, as the pressure makes him flinch in agony. He appears confused by your gesture, but does not try to resist either.
What are you doing, man?
I'm doing my best to save you, Frederick.
But why, though?
I never intended to hurt or kill anyone, but your squad had me cornered. I'm sorry.
As you converse, blood begins to soak through the coat. Roll another medicine check.
All right. A 17 now.
You tighten the coat just enough to act as a temporary tourniquet, making a knot with the sleeves to tie it down. You imagine it must be hard for Frederick to breathe with such pressure applied to his chest.
Wait, so did you actually know someone from the company, or were you just playing?
Well, yeah. To make a long story short, we got separated about a week ago.
Oh, damn it. We really did mess this up, huh?
I suppose. You wouldn't happen to have any healing potions on you. I'm fresh out.
The grunt shakes his head, his brows furrowing in a mixture of frustration and barely concealed misery.
Haven't been issued to us lower plebs yet. Some cargo was supposed to come soon, or so I've heard. Sending out troops before issuing supplies. What were they thinking? Talk about putting the cart before the thresher.
I see.
I know the big boss is a lot smarter than this. If he wanted us to take this heap, he'd plan further ahead instead of throwing us goombas at his problems. Something else is going on here. I didn't think I'd be the type of guy to die on the first day.
Hey, you're not dying here, all right? As soon as we get the blood to stop flowing, you'll be all right, you hear?
Well, only if you don't strangle me to death with my own coat first.
Frederick tries to laugh, but ends up coughing violently instead, exasperating himself. It is only upon hearing an unsettling gagging noise from the man that the coughing finally stops, with his dull eyes growing moist and reddening.
Hey kid, I don't mean to alarm you, but I think the bleeding is internal.
What? No, I made sure my cuts were shallow.
Roll your final medicine check.
Please let this work. Please, please, please. Oh no, that's a 6 on the roll.
Despite all of your effort and care, Frederick is seemingly doomed to die, which he solemnly accepts as his eyes close, never to grace sunlight again.
Thanks for at least trying, pal. I'm starting to feel warm inside.
That warmth isn't real. I've been there before. You're just gonna wake up in the depths. Stay with me, please.
Doesn't matter to me right now. Everything just feels so wonderful.
His head rolls slightly to the side, and his jaw slowly unclenches. The corpse of Frederick of the Summer Company lies before you.
Damn it all. I can't save anyone.
The wind blows softly, carrying a subtle stench of iron from the man you desperately tried to save. Shadows below the trees and cliffs seem to shift and morph as tears form in your eyes, distorting your view. It's as if the entire universe is mocking you and your attempts at heroism. A horrible sensation grows inside of your throat and stomach, nausea. You are inches away from vomiting, but you manage to hold it back. Something at the back of your skull begins gnawing at you, and then it all goes silent. A voice all too familiar begins beckoning to you. The voice of a friend once thought slain.
Jackdaw, do you hear me?
What? Is that really you, Gary?
Pull yourself together. You did what you had to do. Now go.
But
Listen to me. You've got no clue as to how many other grunts are here. If you don't move right now, someone will...
Hey. Are you alright?
A single hand is put onto your shoulder.
Ha! Who's there?
You instinctively turn around to witness a peculiar woman. She's dressed like an Etrian shrine maiden, brandishing a flowing white kimono clad with red ribbons, whilst carrying a naginata in her offhand. Someone of her grace seems entirely out of place for a battlefield like this. Hearing your startled response, she retreats a couple feet back, sheepishly scratching the back of her head.
Sorry if I startled you, sir. It's just that you've been sitting there for a while now.
Oh, my apologies. How long has it been?
Not sure, but at least half an hour has passed.
How foolish of me.
You're a vigil, right? What's your name?
It's Jackdaw Hashi. I'll stand up and flick the blade of my katana in the wind to clean it before sheathing it once more. May I ask of yours?
It's Mio Amashi, but you may call me Mio. What are you doing here?
I'm here to rescue a fellow vigil, but some of these Summer Company grunts apprehended me.
The Summer Company? What were they here for?
No clue. They declared something about Erisia being Summer property before firing their warning shots.
Oh, so they want a piece of this isle as well? I'm guessing the sight before me was the consequence of their aggravation.
She gestures towards the body of Frederick, her brows curving upwards as she glances upon the corpse with pity.
No, it was I who struck first. I meant to hold back, but his wounds were nevertheless fatal. I attempted to save him, but it was to no avail.
Oh.
She gazes upon the body once more, realizing now why you were mourning.
Your intentions are noble, Hashi. I'd hesitate to do the same.
I know. Not many would.
A cruel world, isn't it?
Well then, I'm off. Safe travels.
Wait, you wouldn't happen to be traveling in the direction of that cave over there?
I am, actually. It's one of the few ways to reach up to the higher levels of Erisia.
You wouldn't mind if I tagged along, right? I'd feel a lot safer with an ally.
I don't mind. Follow my lead, Mio.
The sky lights up for a split second before returning to its murky palette. After a hasty departure, the Canor gunslinger returns to the muddy bandit settlement from his impromptu break. The air feels stiff, with Penelope shooting an uneasy glance at Lionel.
Took you long enough?
Cut me some slack. I had to wipe my ass with grass. So are we gonna loot this dunghole or not? I'm calling dibs on whatever's worth notes.
Of course. I'll be checking for alchemical ingredients, if possible.
And I want some snacks.
I'll let you all roll investigation checks to loot the area.
That's a 17.
I rolled a dirty 20.
Penelope rolled a 17 on her investigation check. Lionel searches through old crates in the warehouse, finding a hidden compartment containing a silver necklace and 2 dull gold rings.
Not bad.
As for Basil, you find that most ingredients are suspiciously missing, most likely reallocated or plundered by the stone sparks before you. You do, however, find 3 yellow potions sealed within glass ampules, hidden amongst the dirt and mold within the storage room.
Interesting. Gonna have to inspect those when I have the chance.
I mean, nothing's stopping you from rolling right now.
True, actually. I'll do a nature check to inspect these potions. 16 on the nature check.
It succeeds. These are not your average run-of-the-mill potions. The fact that the liquid is sealed inside of an ampule instead of a regular cork tells you that you're dealing with a seriously corrosive or reactive substance, and by inspecting it further, it appears to be the former. This is a corrosive compound, brewed by a toxicologist and strong enough to corrode metal.
That's absolutely sick. I'll grab them and keep them in mind.
And finally, Penelope finds a pot of chunky soup, which she pours into a large canteen to carry, also bringing 3 dried and salted fish along for the ride. After your search, you all rendezvous back to the center square of the bandit settlement.
I'm not spending another minute here in these rundown shit shacks. Let's get on with the mission.
Agreed. Let's head out.
Exiting the settlement, you could take a couple of paths to continue. You can either go right and return to the rundown stone building with some of the summer grunts, go left and walk around the bandit settlement for an alternate path, or diagonally left towards the peaks of Erisia.
What would the alternate path give us?
Don't know, and I don't really care either.
Maybe we could meet up with Petro and those other summer guys.
They've got other matters to attend to. We'd have to split up sooner or later anyways. Let's just bite the bullet and get our sorry selves to the peaks of Erisia now instead of later.
Sounds fine, as long as we're all in agreement.
The party departs once more, traveling deeper inland. Your direction takes you onto a forest path, with large pine trees blocking the faint skylight. The state of the path is lamentable, but seems to once have been well-maintained and oft-traveled. Brown water and muddy puddles form in the bumpy silt from thousands of past footsteps.
Let me roll a perception check real quick.
Sure.
Stupid-ass dice giving me a 4.
What did you expect? You have the lowest wisdom out of everyone here.
Lionel briefly scans the area and finds nothing out of the ordinary.
The road ahead's clear.
Is it? I mean, you just sort of glanced at it.
Basil, shut your nerd mouth. If I say the road's clear, then the road's clear. Got that?
You can't be serious. You know what? I'm not gonna argue. Lead the way, boss.
That's more like it.
Basil, you feel something poking you on the shoulder. Briefly averting her eyes, Penelope walks beside you, trying to catch your attention.
I'll turn my head a little and acknowledge her. What is it?
She immediately hushes you, hoping you'd respond more discreetly. It appears she wants to discuss this in private.
Obama, can I hear any of this?
Roll me a decently high perception check and I'll say you do.
Of course I get a natural 20 on eavesdropping, but not when I actually need to perceive shit. Great game.
Yes, you hear everything crystal clear.
Then I'll pretend to be oblivious, but secretly listening to everything as I lead the party.
Penelope continues, speaking in a low and whispery tone to the party alchemist.
So, when we met those summer guys at the little ruined building, didn't you think,
The girl's face gradually reddens as she struggles to elaborate.
Like the tall,
It's okay. Take your time to think through your sentence.
She stays silent for a short moment, but it seems she can't contain herself.
didn't you think that tall red-haired boy was really cute?
What? You mean Petro?
Yeah, that's the one. He's got that deep quaking voice, those cool sharp ears. I got all tingly when he talked to me. And you've got to agree he's really pretty, right?
I really don't swing that way, Penny, though I suppose he was sort of attractive in a conventional way. But listen...
I know, right? I should totally ask him out. But you gotta help me, I don't know how to talk to...
Penny! How old even are you?
Huh? Well, I'm 15. What are you asking for?
Sheesh. Listen, Penelope. That boy is most likely a grown man in his 20s. You're way too young for him. You've got to at least be 18.
Oh, but that's not fair at all.
Also, I'm sure Petro would not want to be with someone too young. I'm not sure if you know, but adults dating children is considered gross, taboo, and illegal in most places. He could get in serious trouble, and that's not exactly something you'd want to put him through.
Dreams crushed and completely defeated, she lowers her head in shame, her ears drooping with her eyes plummeting to the ground.
I'm sorry, it was a dumb question anyways.
Hey, come on. You're still allowed to think he's cute. Just don't get any ideas of entering a relationship until you're mature enough to not get taken advantage of, okay?
You can hear a very distinct sound of swallowing, and she nods, rubbing her eye a little.
Okay.
Maybe you could find someone your own age. Once we're over and done and back to civilization.
Yeah, maybe... Hold on. Were you listening this whole time?
Ha! You think I'd willingly ignore juicy gossip? I heard every little detail.
Penelope shoves her hands into her face, embarrassed to her very core.
He's probably just joking, Penny. Right, Lionel?
Not in the slightest.
You hear an anguished squeal from the humiliated teen, who probably wishes she had kept her mouth shut. The trek thereafter turns painfully silent, but luckily a change in the environment breaks the awkward air. The trees of the forest grow sparse, and a large natural arch to your left shows a new path forth. Looking through the archway in the surrounding area, the grass appears to be pale with a yellowish tint. with the surrounding rocks warped in strange, unnatural ways.
Something's definitely off here. Basil, do you know anything about this muck?
Let me see here. Can I roll a nature check?
Go ahead.
That's a 23.
You immediately notice the oddities, with the warped melting stone being an obvious sign. There must be high concentrations of acid in the area, and it must happen frequently enough to keep the grass dead.
High and frequent concentrations of acid, huh? Is there someone out here spraying piles of corrosive sauce? I guess that's something to look out for.
Actually, I know this place.
You do?
Yeah, before I met you guys. I remember the rain in this place stings a lot. Maybe it hurts the rocks and grass too?
Wait, you're right. It might be acid rain causing this destruction. But that's strange. Acid rain as a phenomena only occurs when sulfur and nitrogen is—
Great, I have my answer. Can we walk already? I'm not here to discuss environmentalism. That's for the hippies to ponder.
I think you'd best be thankful for the knowledge, lest both you and your clothes melt away in a light drizzle.
Out of character? Did you genuinely just use lest in a goddamn sentence?
What? It's a good word.
Bro thinks he's Shakespeare.
Let's just continue on with the sesh.
Passing through the arch, the landscape appears surreal. Towers of old erected from rock and stone riddle the surrounding valley, some in better shape than others. Many are completely overgrown with the dying flora of the isle, whilst others lay in ruin, sinking deeper into the unstable ground. Recalling some of the gathered info from the bandits, you realize that this must be the Tower-struck lands.
Right, I do remember hearing that name before.
Wait, it's actually called the Tower-struck lands? I thought that was just some sort of elaborate 9/11 joke.
What? In what regard?
I'd like to know as well.
You know, when George Bush was here and stuff, I thought it was supposed to be like tongue-in-cheek humor.
I still don't understand the connection with the terrorist attack.
Good Lord, do I need to spell it out for you? Towers struck?
Donald, it's the land that is struck by towers, not towers being struck by... Damn it, whatever. The session's getting off topic. You all continue through the winding paths of the tower-struck lands, trampling the tufts of dead grass that litter the area. Penelope anxiously peers skyward, observing the derelict spires of the land. As you explore further, the placement of towers becomes more dense. It all starts to feel like a maze.
Things seem to be way too quiet. Could I roll a perception check?
Sure thing. I can have Penelope roll too. Anyone else also joining in?
Of course I'll grace you with my rolls. Has anyone gotten tired of the rigged dice meme yet?
Yes.
It was literally never funny.
Is it supposed to be funny?
Well, I haven't. I rolled a 3. These dice are more rigged than the 2020 elections. Am I right, guys? I said these dice are more rigged than
We heard you the first time, Donald. What did you roll, Ben?
It was surprisingly good. I got an 18.
Penelope rolled a 10, so only you get to notice this. You hear soft clacks from a dislodged pebble, descending from high above. Facing the source of the sound, you spot a humanoid figure dashing on the cliff face above you, with the weak, clouded sun just barely shining onto their back as they find refuge within the shadows. From the brief moment you glanced, you could tell that the person was wearing a rough leather jacket, with a distinct pickaxe symbol embroidered on the backside.
That symbol. It feels like I should recognize that from somewhere. I'll keep the person in mind.
Hey! What's got you gawking at the sky? You look just like Penny.
Looking out for acid rain.
Paranoid as always. Learn to move with confidence and nothing will bother you. Now get moving!
The weather doesn't care, but sure, I guess.
The party trudges forwards, reaching the end of the strange lands. You're met with a straight clearing surrounded by tall mountains which seem to bend and swallow the valley whole. The same wretched grass paves the way towards a cavern entrance, or what used to be one. A rock slide must have occurred here, blocking the entrance completely. The event is most likely recent, as the stones are clearly discolored from the rest of the walls.
Great, just our luck.
There's someone in there.
What? Where?
She points to the bottom left of the pile, where a person's lower body is showing. The rest are buried beneath the rocks.
Maybe they're alive?
I doubt that, but maybe we should pull them out just in case. I'll try to roll for it.
Roll me an athletics check.
That's a 17, not bad.
With struggle, you manage to move some of the heavy boulders out of the way, and with a final effort drag the body out of the pile, with a terrible stench following suit. There isn't much left of the sorry soul. Their head, chest, and both arms have been completely squished, reduced to a sinewy, bloody pulp. Penelope winces at the sight, instinctively covering her nose and mouth.
Gods be damned. Someone had much worse luck than us.
I'd like to investigate the body. Let's see if they have anything that could tell us who they were. 17 on the investigation check.
Strands of light hair are attached to the squished remains of the person's scalp. Judging by body type, this must have been a man. Their clothing consists of dark leather armor, reinforced by pale green scale mail, riddled with bullet holes, which seem to have entered from the opposite side. The wounds on the body are relatively fresh, which means this all must have happened less than a week ago. Flipping the body over, the buckled chest plate reveals a damaged crest of Erisia.
Interesting. This is an Etrian soldier. We're most certainly not alone here.
But you see those bullet holes, right? That means this worm's been taken care of by our boys.
Are you sure? Aren't there other factions that utilize firearms?
I mean, there is the authority too. Although the big, beautiful Summer Company has an effective monopoly over firearms in the East, the Central Authority is the largest customer of said firearms. The rifle spear is our most sold product, you know? Absolutely tremendous for all forms of warfare, because if you ever run out of bullets, you can just stab the guy.
Well, that adds another one to the mix. And that doesn't even exclude the risk of pilfered firearms being used by other factions.
You're overthinking this by a long shot. The poor sod most likely tried to intervene with summer business and rightfully got filled with lead, and then as an act of lumen, he also got crushed by rocks for having the audacity to mess with us. Yeah, that must be it.
Jokes aside, our path is still blocked.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, I reckon the summer ships have explosives with them. They could probably lend us some, and then we could blow this rock slide to Kingdom Come.
Probably, but backtracking would take an unnecessary amount of time. How about we return to the tower-struck lands and see if we can go to any other branching locations?
I still prefer my idea, but fine. Let's have it your way.
The party returns to the previous location, and the clouds above seem to swirl in an ominous manner. A hint of sourness can be smelt in the air.
Looks like we'll have to traverse this place quickly. Obama? What do I see if I look up?
By just looking up amongst the towers, you notice many of them lean and bridge into each other. Tracing the bridges with your eyes and following their path, the last one seems to reach a place above the towering canyon walls. Many of the towers don't appear to have any doorways, and the ones that do are blocked by rubble or are completely collapsed.
We'll have to start scaling one of these towers somehow.
And how do you reckon we'll do that, smart guy?
I think I actually have the perfect tool for that. I'll bring out my mantra prism and break it open in my hand.
The alchemist brings out a shining blue prism, which is promptly crushed into a fine dust in his hands. The prism allows Basil to access and cast the mantra Glacial Arc once.
Perfect. I'll back away a couple dozen feet to cast it at a good angle against the tower in front of us.
Basil proceeds and summons a massive arcing icicle from the ground, wide as a bridge and accelerating rapidly. The glacial arc crashes into the tower, shaking the entire structure of the building, but creating a seemingly walkable arcing platform. Despite being made out of ice, the material does not appear to be slippery in the slightest.
Whoa, that's awesome!
When, where, and how did you get that?
An old lady at Summer Isle sold me one a couple of days back. Seems to have been a worthy investment.
Can't say you're wrong. I'd love to have some of those. Now let's get moving. We don't know how long this icicle will last.
Agreed. Let's advance.
The party begins to ascend the glacial arc, whose structure seems surprisingly rigid, easily carrying the three of you. Whoever created the prism for this mantra must have been extraordinarily talented. Reaching the end of the icicle, a stone bridge appears to your right, connected to the tower.
Nice. Let's hop onto the bridge and start exploring. One of these bridges are bound to leave us someplace new.
Landing onto the stony platform, you feel how the derelict structure subtly sways and creaks with each consecutive footstep, the howling wind bringing forth an unsettling breeze, as you're now largely unshielded from the elements. From your vantage point, you observe the paths you've taken to reach this place, and begin to feel accomplished that you've gotten so far already.
Now what? We just walk until we find the right bridge?
I guess. There's gotta be a more efficient way. Maybe if we had a better view, this would all be more clear.
Eager as always, Penelope pokes Basil's thigh with her finger to get his attention.
Could you boost me a little higher? I think I can reach the top of the tower from here.
Oh, sure. Just be careful. The drop-down is nothing to scoff at. I'll bring my hands together and allow her to jump up.
Oh, wow. Even with advantage, that's only a 9. Penelope steps onto your hands and you both work together in unison, giving the young Felinor a helpful boost. However, it's not enough. With the way the tower is shaped, she can't climb straight up without her head hitting the ledge, and there's no good surface to latch onto either. Dissatisfied, Penny jumps back down to the party.
I thought I'd be able to climb that.
Hey, you climb better than anyone else here, Penny. If you can't, then no one can.
I guess you're right. Maybe it wasn't meant to be climbed?
Yeah, nothing short of having wings would get us up there. I suppose we'll just do the old-fashioned route and what are you laughing at?
No, I just remembered something really funny. You wouldn't get it, though.
All right then. Got anything up your sleeve?
I'm afraid the only thing up my sleeve is my arm. Let's press on.
You find yourself traveling through a familiar cave tunnel, with your new companion by your side. The musky stench unfortunately hasn't changed, still reeking horribly of ammonia. The further you continue, the more the light diminishes. Looking to your right, Mio appears to be unbothered by the stench, curiously observing the area as she treads her ground. This place seems to be clear of summer grunts, or for now, at least.
Jackdaw, are you cold by any chance? Your clothes are completely soaked.
I'll be fine. I just had to take an unorthodox travel route, that's all.
Huh? You mean you swam all the way here?
I didn't have a boat, so it was pretty much my only option.
From the Isle of Vigils to Erisia?
Yep, the whole way.
I'm surprised you're still awake, walking and fighting, no less. Here, I'll give you something to dry you up.
Reaching into her pack, she brings forth a stick, with an end wrapped with cloth and resin, covered in strange red powder. She then proceeds to smack the stick against a cave wall, which immediately ignites it, creating a functional torch, which she carefully hands over to you.
You really didn't have to, but thanks. So, any particular reason as to why you're here?
Why do you ask?
Well, I told you my mission, so I'd like to know about yours.
Oh, of course. Sorry. I was sent by the Lord Regent's captain to assist in the seizure of Erisia, in partial cooperation with the Vigils. From the way things are looking, I think this place is a lost cause for us.
What makes you think that?
Well, there's an awful lot of other factions competing for the same resources here. The Authority, the 100 Legions, the Kingdom of Etria, the Vigils, and now the Summer Company. It's a headache to keep track of it all.
Hey, at least you've got the Vigils on your side.
That much is true, but it's yet another chef in this chaotic kitchen we call Erisia. There's no way we can claim this place, because even if we do, we'd have to be fighting off all other factions at once.
If claiming the island is impossible, why does Etria still continue?
From what I know, the Lord Regent is after a peculiar artifact. Once it's been retrieved, I'm sure he'll issue a withdrawal of the colonial forces.
Do you know anything about this artifact?
It's the Forge of Sin. I'm sure you've heard of it.
I have, but what does it do exactly?
Honestly, no clue. I've only heard rumors that it grants the channeler near limitless power, however vague that might be.
No wonder the leader of Etria would want to claim an item as powerful as that.
Of course, after the previous emperor disappeared, our kingdom's been in a pretty tragic state. But the Lord Regent has promised to use the Forge of Sin to protect the Etrian people.
How long has the previous emperor been gone for?
For about... I don't seem to remember.
Mio appears confused, even though such an event should be common knowledge.
Obama, do I know anything about it?
Roll a history check.
That's a 15. Does that work?
Strangely, it does not.
Well, that's odd. I can't put my finger on it either.
Maybe we're just forgetful.
Hopefully so.
The terrain changes as you reach the jagged steps within the cave, quickly ascending over the pits of vile liquid. Unbothered as usual, Mio changes the topic of the conversation.
So, what do you do for fun?
Me? Well, I usually practice with my blade to pass the time. Cleaning it too is pretty exhausting work.
Then maybe you should try a naginata like mine. It's got a longer reach and a smaller edge to clean.
I thank you for the suggestion, but I never said I disliked the maintenance. It's an award in and of itself.
Oh? I see. It's strange how much our cultures differ.
How's it like in Etria?
In Etria, it's all about practicality and cost effectiveness. Spears are easier to learn for the average person, and in terms of cost, Well, it's just a piece of steel on a stick. You'd never hear an Etrian guard singing about cleaning weaponry like you vigils do.
Well, that's because weapons are more than just a means to an end for us. One might learn a weapon in a week, but it'll take years to truly understand it, to know every little maneuver and action to take to win. The blade becomes an extension of yourself, and thereby an extension of your soul.
Bold of you to assume anyone here gets to train for more than a couple months.
That's true. It's hard to get the full training experience when you're being dragged out to the battlefield. While the experience through battle is valuable, you may find yourself quickly relying on the same few techniques and thus locking yourself out of other options. But nevertheless, did you receive any formal training with your weapon?
A bit. Only with staffs, actually. But a simple bamboo stick wouldn't have been strong enough to fend off the beasts of this isle, so I was issued a glaive instead. The techniques from staffs translate pretty well to glaives, so not much has changed.
Seems like it worked out pretty nicely. Well then, what about you? What's your hobby?
Ooh, well, I love gardening, potting, planting, all that. It's a hobby I picked up from the shrine. I was always tasked to tend to the ungo trees, you see. If I must admit, I did eat some of the harvest when no one was looking.
Then you'll definitely be busy once scythe span rolls around.
Yup. But that's just part of the fun, isn't it? It's my version of cleaning swords, except I get to have a little snack too.
The path narrows as you continue, and you can no longer walk side by side. The ground appears jagged and gravelly. This is the place where Lionel and you almost fell, marked clearly by the loose terrain. Neo slows down and assesses the situation, crouching down and prodding at the rocks with the shaft of her polearm.
Do you think it's safe for walking?
Not in the slightest, but I'm the one with the most sure step here, so I'll walk first to test the waters, so to say.
Just be careful, all right?
Carefully, she treads the jagged earth. Despite the loose ground trembling underneath her steps, she makes it to the end without fail. Mio looks over her shoulder and gives you a reassuring nod.
Looks safe enough. I'll walk in her exact steps for safety's sake.
Roll me an acrobatics saving throw.
Well, that's never a good sign. That's a 21. Looks like I'm good to go.
One step in, and the ground appears stable enough. But as you take your second, the loose rocky ground quickly gives in under your weight. Luckily, with your superior reaction speed, you easily jump to safety, with the fracturing terrain splashing and foaming in the pools of caustic liquids below.
I think there might have been a little weight difference between us.
Maybe. That was way too close.
Yeah, nice save though. Let's keep going. I think we're close to the end.
You make it out of the familiar cavern, with the putrid air fading as the freshness of nature sweeps over you. Weak rays of light pierce through the canopy of the respite, illuminating beds of white flowers, some of which appear to have been trampled. Despite the inherent beauty of this place, you feel horrible shivers crawling up your back.
Oh, wow. I never expected to find something so beautiful here.
It really is. Although I've already been here once before.
Oh, neat.
I wouldn't say so myself. There was a woman here before, an Adrechian, long ponytail, orange eyes. But I don't see her anywhere.
I mean, maybe she just left?
Those trampled flowers tell me it wasn't so simple.
She might have been in a hurry.
Obama, could I make a perception check to just quickly scan the surroundings? This place feels odd.
Go ahead.
19 on the roll.
Your suspicions are not entirely unfounded. You can't find any physical traces, but you sense an incredibly high amount of dark ether, the remnants of shadowcast mantras. There is a high risk other shadowcasters have been in this area, and they were here not long before your arrival. In fact, they might still be here.
I'll turn to Mio immediately. I sense something malicious. We need to go, right now.
Is there someone after us?
Possibly. There's no time to explain, just follow me out of here.
Escaping the respite through the exit you took last time, you find yourself approaching a familiar drawbridge. But before you can reach it, you feel the shrine maiden tugging at your sleeve, urging you to stop.
Just stop for a second, please. I need to know what's going on.
It's too hard to explain in full, but I sensed something unnatural.
Unnatural?
I sensed tainted ether, a remnant of a shadowcast mantra.
How could you sense that without being... Oh.
The dots connect inside of her head, and panic flashes across her face. She carefully takes a step backwards, planting her feet into a combative stance, and with it her faint blue eyes narrow, as her focus moves to your sheathed katana. Mio is in position to strike at a moment's notice.
Move, and I'll kill you.
This is exactly why I didn't want to explain it, since I knew you'd get the wrong idea from it. I'm not here to hurt you, or anyone, for that matter.
And why should I believe you? For all I know, you could just... Who is that?
What? From the cliffs of the respite, a kneeling silhouette casts a shadow over Mio, and without much warning, it plunges downwards. The assailant rises from their attack and turns their attention towards Jackdo. They appear to be a male, sporting orange hair with strands of black, with long ears protruding from his head. Sunken eyes pierce into the samurai's soul. Clad in plate armor and carrying a heavy lance, they seem prepared for combat.
I've been made aware of a certain someone encroaching upon this territory. Helpless grunts ran to me, describing an anomaly. The demon in red.
Explain yourself.
Of course. I am Petro Barbaras, emissary of the Isle of Crows, left hand of Rosen. And I have come to correct this anomaly.
Please don't force me to do this again.
Again? No, this will be something completely new. You're lucky to even witness it.
The group's journey through the tower-struck lands continues, roaming the archaic arches of a ruined civilization. The earth far below you has been thoroughly plundered, with large chunks of terrain quarried out. You can tell this place was born of ambition, and that whatever downfall befell it affected it harshly.
Whoa, look at that view! It's like we're on top of the world.
Not much to see, though. It's all gray as shit.
You've got to appreciate the scale of it, though. I wonder who could have lived here, atop these massive spires.
Definitely rich people. We all know the taller the building, the more rent you pay.
Is that really how it goes?
Absolutely, and it doubles if it's got a seaside view.
As you travel, making it through yet another bridge and into the hollows of one of the towers, a strange statue catches your attention. It hasn't aged well, but shows remarkable craftsmanship. There appear to be 3 figures in total, a man, a boy, and a woman, the latter of which appear to be missing their head. The man is dressed in a flawless 3-piece suit, carrying rounded glasses and a proud smile, and so is the boy, although without glasses. The woman's statue carries a modest layered dress, yet appears to be broad-shouldered and tomboyish in figure. Without a face, it's hard to tell her expression.
Huh, would you look at that? A family statuary.
I'm surprised you even know that word. But these people, is this the Duke's family?
Could be.
There's some mossy stuff covering something here.
Where?
Penelope peels away a thick, humid layer of moss and brushes some dirt aside. What's revealed is a metal plaque, scratched yet still readable. It appears to be written by the Duke himself.
I, Duke Ishman of Erisia, raise this monument in love and respect for my beloved, Farah and near. You are the light of my world, the most precious people I know, and I will be by your side always. May we rule these lands with kindness and mercy for 1,000 years.
The plaque continues thereon, but the text is completely unreadable.
Kindness and mercy? What a joke that turned out to be.
Alistair did describe his change as sudden. I wonder what drove him to such lengths.
Nah, I think he was just waiting for his moment.
Possibly. What do you think, Penny?
Well, maybe he was forced to do it by someone? Like mind control.
That's not entirely out of the question either. And with the tools at this world's disposal, it might even be true. But let's keep going. I think we're getting close to finding a way out of here.
Right, let's move.
You all proceed through the exit of the tower, reaching yet another bridge. This one, however, seems to lead you much closer to the top of the canyon, with a collapsed tower conveniently leaning towards it like a staircase. But before that lies something a bit more ominous. A group of 3, 2 women and 1 man, all clad in faded leather vests, walk on the same bridge ahead of you. I want you all to roll for stealth.
That's how I know we're in for some bullshit. Yep, a solid 7. Awesome. Gonna buy new dice after this session.
I also got a 7, but I don't have any dex modifiers like you do.
Oh, just laugh it up!
Huh?
Penelope rolled a 13, so it looks like none of you are safe. One of them briefly looks over their shoulder, seeing the group of you advancing towards them. With a quick nudge, they warn their allies, and the group stops dead in their tracks. They do not appear hostile, but nevertheless clench their weapons, gauging your threat level. Lionel, you immediately recognize their attire as the Ignition Union uniform. Likewise, the group realizes you're part of the Summer Company, and the tension rises. The Ganymede man of the group speaks up with an antagonizing tone, breaking the silence.
State your business, bootlicker.
Off to a great start, you repulsive shit-eating swine. We, the Summer Company, are here to seize this isle and remove all unwanted trespassers by any means necessary. If that forces me to pop a cap in your unwashed asses, then so be it.
Good grief, Lionel. Calm yourself. We can at least try some diplomacy first.
The Grimorian woman of the Ignition Squadron responds to the gunslinger in a mocking tone.
That fellow brother in Navai seems to be much wiser than you, Dragoon. You'd best listen to him.
Silence, all of you. I don't negotiate with terrorists, and I especially don't negotiate with Ignition filth. You fuckers started this war, and I'll be sure to end it on our terms.
The Ignition bruisers look at each other in genuine confusion.
We started this war?
What? Have you forgotten already? That night 4 years ago, your artillery tore through the civilian quarters, murdering hundreds of innocent people, including my beloved. Miscalculation. What a cruel joke.
We don't even own artillery. What in the depths have they taught you?
Silence, murderer! There is only one place subhuman scum like you belong, and that is firmly beneath my boots, decomposing.
Gods below. I didn't know it was possible to find someone so thoroughly uneducated. Fire if you must, but this will not end well for you.
Big talk coming from a dead man walking. I rolled to blow this fucker's brains out.
You fire, and yet nothing happens. The Ganymede man stands there, simply holding his hand out with his palm. Your bullet never made contact, as it was suspended in stasis. Harmlessly, it drops to the floor, echoing throughout the canyon.
Why did it just stop? What is this?
Bootlicker. Have you never stopped to wonder why your war is in a stalemate? Despite outnumbering your enemy 20-1?
That's beside the point. What did you do? Tell me now.
What? You don't know? Oh, wait. Of course you don't. You officer types have never been forced onto the front lines.
I'm surprised the Dragoon was even deployed here. All your kind do is stand like toy soldiers in front of Rosen's castle, cowering behind your overcompensating cannon, all while throwing piles of unprepared fodder at us. Despicable. Perhaps now you will feel the pain you forced those grunts to endure for profit.
Your attempt to take the moral high ground is pathetic. I know what you are, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
We were never trying to convince you, for we already know you are beyond reason. Perhaps when your broken body falls to the ground, we will tell you the truth. The one Rosen refuses to tell you.
Wait! I see now. You're all bluffing. You're talking because you know that little bullet-stopping trick was a one-time deal. And since that's the case, you don't stand a chance against me, or any of the other grunts in my squadron.
What? Grunts?
Grimor, Felinor, walk away. This is not your fight, it is his. Do not waste your life for this capitalist suicide mission.
For fuck's sake, don't listen to them. Grow a pair and fight until they're dead.
Basil? What do we do?
God damn it, Lionel. Fine.